It needs to be realized how severe the retaliation was against me and my children. There's a write-up on it, and I will try to link that somehow or put the address up on this video. But the state of New Hampshire, all agencies were involved in the retaliation and targeting of me and my children beginning in 2019 after they hired Eileen. There were 3 federal agencies involved immediately targeting me. This case, as it stands, has created 20,000 pages of documents. It's involved 15 judges and 35 plus attorneys. All state agencies, those 3 federal agencies. It's involved 3 schools, not only the Gilmanton School, but the prep school in Andover, New Hampshire, Proctor Academy, one of the most prestigious prep schools in New England. That school is heavily involved in this case, and that's another disclosure that's to be made through another video. At the initial of the retaliation, there was even the federal government going into Canada, into another country, to try and investigate me in 2 of the largest sawmills in eastern Canada because I had sold logs to them previously. You know, who in Canada gave them that authorization? Why was this retaliation so immediate and so severe then? It's believed because of Baby Nomi now. My efforts to protect my children and persistence to protect them the last 4 years has had an impact of its own. There have been 50 people removed from this case. The case involves a murder. There are 7 murders connected to this case, including a federal witness and her 2 little children, 1 and 4-year-old little boy. The attempted murder of me multiple times. The attempted murder of me and my sons. This isn't a custody case. This is not a custody case. There's something else behind this. And this recent discovery kind of puts things together as to why they would retaliate so severely in an attempt to silence me, using my own kids as weapons. It wasn't until they resourced the family court judges, especially one that was identified in a previous video, that dynamic was found in these court systems where they're all involved with these the molestations of children at the Sununu Center. That was second hat in this case. They just happened to resource these judges to try and silence me and my children. And in doing so, they kind of stuck their head out, and I was able to identify that dynamic. But the beginning of it, there was no courts involved at the beginning of it. There was no judges involved, and Supreme Court judges involved in the beginning of it, or federal judges. It was pure state of New Hampshire connected to the federal government somehow. Couldn't figure it out. It was assumed that Eileen just had a relationship immediately with somebody in the DHHS that was probably, actually, we investigated enough to have connected this to the governor's office. So that would make sense. But for the federal government 3 agencies in the federal government to pounce like that and target and then have attempts on our lives subsequently in this. It had to have been something else. It had to have been something else that people had great liability in the DHHS, DCYF, and maybe even the feds for them to come after us like that. And this fits. This fits, Baby Nomi. Now, she could be fine. She could be, maybe she has adopted parents somewheres. And she's thriving. But that would need to be known. You'd have to have proof of that, because everything indicates that she was either permanently injured. She may have died from her injuries, don't know. She may have been murdered otherwise. Seems to be a common occurrence with the DCYF. Or she may have just gone what they call missing. She might be a missing child, which was evident in the previous state child advocate. Her name was Maria O'Neill. And in one of her outgoing comments, she mentioned that there was 19 children a month, basically, that were missing in the state of New Hampshire. And nobody knows where they go. Nobody knows where they are. People just ignore it. The lawmakers ignore it. She could be one of those. Don't know. But I do know that she needs to be found. And the public, the state government won't do anything about it. Any inquiries, and the case just gets more dangerous. So the public needs to be involved now to find what happened to her, to find her. She would be 4.5 years old by now. Her last known residence, if you could call it that, was up in Rumney. And loggers, you'll know, because you had to drive through King's Log Yard to get to that residence. They were driving through King's Log Yard and taking a right up there somewheres down that road. There was a house they had just pulled a mortgage on. It was reported to me that the husband of the foster mother was distributing drugs out of the house. Makes good sense. Pull a child from a drug mother and put him in a drug home. The foster mother's name, only first name known, was Kirsten. They're young. They're probably in their 20s. They were driving at the time. This was during 2019. They were driving a white Chevy Tahoe. The year 2000. It was an older model, but it was in good shape. And they had a newer Honda minivan. It was colored blue. You guys will know. You guys know. That was the last known existence for Baby Nomi. Now, she has an ID tag on her, and that's her name. You know, I've done some research, and there's no other children with that name. She could be tracked to the end of the earth with that name. Don't need anything else. Anybody knows, pick up on that name. If they've intentionally changed that name, then you know something was probably going on there too. The loggers of the state of New Hampshire, you can't put up with this. You're men that don't put up with this. I know you are. You don't put up with it. You guys hunt. Anybody that finds out about Baby Nomi can contact me. Loggers, you know how to get a hold of me. There's another dynamic here in this case and it has to do with the New Hampshire state lawmaker Ted Gastus, who is the chairman of the Executive Council of the state of New Hampshire. He's been informed and he's knowledgeable of Baby Nomi, but I have not had any reply back from him as to her welfare, that she would be okay. And too much time's gone by. This has gone on too long. So the citizens of the state of New Hampshire can call upon Mr. Ted Gastus. These guys have the investigative power to find out what happened to her. And it can't just be a situation where he comes out and says, oh, we looked into it and she's fine. There needs to be proof of this. It's too much. 4 years of this and too many other incidents of children being murdered in the DCYF system cannot hold anything to doubt. We need full evidence of this girl's welfare. That's the people of New Hampshire can go to Mr. Gastus. Call upon him. See what he says. See what he says. Thank you very much. As I indicated in the first video for Baby Nomi, I was going to provide all of you with an address, a web address, to the write-up on what's going on with me and my sons. I'll hold this up in front of the screen so everybody can see it. You type this in your address bar and you'll be able to read it. It's pretty extensive, and it's not even fully complete yet, but this is it. And this was written before it was realized that Nomi was indeed injured during her stay with Eileen. So thank you very much, and God bless you all.